Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to a special edition of Movie Goodness here on the KB Radio Network. And welcome to the weekly review of the HBO series The Last of Us Season 1. And this is episode 4 entitled Please Hold My Hand. How are we doing out there, everybody? Hope everybody checked out the show. This is spoilers, of course. We're gonna dive into this episode, and so far, so far, I can honestly say this show has yet to disappoint. This has been firing on all cylinders. Now, before we jump into this particular episode, I want to say I can understand, and I haven't heard anything per se about anybody disliking the show or not being able to follow the show or whatever the case may be. I haven't heard it, but midway through this episode today or tonight, I was sitting here like I can see where a lot of people probably wouldn't be completely engaged with it because just going off of my feelings and reactions, I'm enjoying this show immensely, mainly because I'm a huge fan of the property. I'm a huge fan of the video games. And I played the video games multiple times, both of them, part one and two. And I absolutely love those games. And this show is like the best video game adaptation I've seen thus far. And, uh, you know, I've been throwing that around for the past month, ever since this season has kicked off, and it's it's just amazing to me because I've been burnt so many times when it comes to video game adaptations, and I'm just like having the time of my life, just sitting there and picking out certain things that I remember from the game and character development, character the way these characters are played out on screen, and I'm like, this is just like the game. This is just like the game. This is just like the game, And I'm like, uh, just mind boggled by all this, in a good way. And me and my wife are watching it together, and she's into it, but I can tell, even though she hadn't said anything, but I can tell where she's like, hmm, I wonder if this part of the game. Even to the point at one point, not this week, but last week she asked, like, is this part of the game? I'm like, nah. Episode 3 was not part of the game, but it was more of an extension of the game. It wasn't directly from the game per se, even though those characters are part of the game, but it was more of an extension of the game, the way I looked at it. And that's why it didn't affect me that way, to whereas I was like, oh man, they just went off the rails here. But no, it actually added to the show. In this episode here, episode 4, it was a couple of changes, but not a lot. They added, but it enhanced the show. And I'm all for it, man. This is this is amazing. And for those of you who are not engaged, one, why are you listening to the reviews? But secondly, you know, this is a good show. I can honestly say, even if I didn't play the games, this is a good show. And I will scream from the mountaintops for anybody to watch this show. So far so good. I'm gonna keep throwing that little disclaimer out because I don't know how the rest of this season will go, but I haven't seen any evidence thus far in 4 episodes that this will go completely off the rails. So let's dive into this episode 4, entitled "Please Hold My Hand." Uh, just a quick recap of episode 3. We, you know, everybody's been talking about it for the past week. how how beautiful of an episode that was, and it was. It was a beautiful episode, even though, like I said before, it wasn't a direct adaptation of the video game, but it was a beautiful love story and uh, really tragic. And I mean, if it didn't touch your heart, something wrong with you. If that episode didn't affect you in any kind of way emotionally, uh, check yourself. Check yourself. That was a beautiful episode. That was a beautiful hour and what 30 minutes of just the best television I've you can probably see. Um and we left off with Joel and Ellie. They finally got the truck and now they're on the road. They're heading to Wyoming to get to Tommy, who is Joel's brother. So while on this road trip, we're starting to get that relationship between Joel and Ellie. Uh, for the first three episodes, it's been bickering. Joel doesn't want to. This is a task that Joel doesn't want. He does not want to be responsible for Ellie. That's just out of the realm of possibility for him right now. All he's focused on is getting to Wyoming by his brother. So this little thing with Ellie he is not feeling it. And it took the death of Tess, who made Joel promise to see this task through, um, for him to continue on with Ellie. So this wasn't something that he was just driven to do, to get this young girl to the Fireflies and get this uh, cure or anything like that. He's just doing this to fulfill a promise that he made. So there's no, I'm not going to say chemistry, because there's plenty of chemistry as far as acting is concerned, but there's no camaraderie between the two. Now, Ellie, being a young teenager, is asking a lot of questions, is trying to get some type of relationship going, whether she knows it or not. And Joel is just standoffish. But this episode, from the start of it to the end of it, we saw a complete arc and a complete shift. And it was done organically and done well. This episode was directed by Jeremy Webb. It was written by Craig Masson, who has written all of the episodes and is the showrunner along with Neil Druckmann, who co-created not only this TV series but the video game. And the writing here, the direction here, all four episodes, even though we have had a different director every episode, it's kept the same tone, the same vibe. And when we start off, Joel is his standoffish self. He doesn't really want to talk to Ellie, doesn't want to answer any questions for Ellie. They're in this truck, they're on the road, they're, camping out at night, trying to get some rest. And Ellie is trying to crack through, trying to break through to Joel to get some type of relationship, some type of kinship going, even to the point where the next morning after they have camped out and Joel is telling his story why he's trying to get to his brother and, how he feels about family. You got to be there for his family and fight for his family. And Ellie asks him that, what about me? What am I? He's like, no, you're not family, you're cargo. And that's what Joel sees her as. You're just another a task. You're not a person to me. And I guess it's the survival instinct in him to feel that way, because he doesn't want to really grow close to her. He doesn't want to develop feelings for Ellie, because everybody in his life has died, basically in his arms to a degree. His daughter died in his arms trying to protect her, and she died. Trying to protect Tess, and she was infected. Trying to protect his brother, and he ran off. So nothing he holds dear in his life has been able to hold on to. And as much as he's feeling, I think he's feeling empathy up to this point. He was feeling some type of emotion towards Ellie. but he is fighting it tooth and nail internally. And you can see that through Pedro Pascal's performance. He's hesitant. It's like he wants to answer, but he doesn't. He holds back a lot because he doesn't want to grow a relationship with Ellie because he knows eventually he'll have to let that go too. Or if something happens to her, God forbid, that'll be on him as well. So he's fighting this, and man, finally Ellie is she's really I don't know how can I describe Ellie feeling as far as this show is concerned towards Joel. She wants to have a relationship with him. She really admires him. You can tell by the way she's talking to him and asking him questions that she wants to get to know him. She kind of respects him in a degree that's higher than just a normal respect, like a father figure, if you will. Because up to this point, we really don't know Ellie's backstory, but we can safely assume that she didn't have her father around. And so she needs that fatherly figure, or at least she's longing for that. And she's trying to get that out of Joel. And to jump ahead to the end of the episode, where they finally do break, when, Ellie's trying to crack these jokes to Joel throughout the episode. And he's kind of just shooing it off, these stupid little puns and that from this book that she's reading, and he's shooing it off. But like every joke that she tells, you can tell it's getting through just little by little each one that she tells. And finally, when she tells that last one at the end, uh, what was it? Did you know that diarrhea is hereditary or something to that effect? And it was it's a stupid joke that because it runs in your genes, yeah, whatever the case. But that made Joel laugh, and they finally got that connection. Now the joke before that about the scarecrow, he answered it, just to indicate that okay, I'm on board with it. Let's let's have some fun with it. And I thought that was cute. The point I'm trying to make throughout this whole little soliloquy was the fact that this episode was a relationship building episode. That we finally got that relationship that those of us who played the game and are a fan of the games know that that is a deep relationship that Joel and Ellie have, especially towards the end of the game when it becomes a real father-daughter relationship. He sees Ellie as his daughter towards the end of that game. And, spoilers, whatever. I mean, you can pretty much figure that out. But anyway, we see the genesis of that he's starting to warm up. He's starting to loosen up a bit with Ellie. Great. It was great writing. I did not want it to be spontaneous. It took 4 episodes to get there, and I think that's a perfect amount of time to get to that. They were introduced in episode 1. I didn't need episode 2 for them to be holding hands and skipping down the road like Dorothy and the Scarecrow. I needed some development here. I needed us to get there. And the way that this show has handled that is perfect to me. Episode 4 was perfect to finally jump off that relationship. Now, I'm pretty sure it's still going to be a little tension going forward because it wasn't like, oh, yeah, it's not like Batman v Superman. Ellie said Martha and they're best friends all of a sudden. I mean that, you know, we're getting there. This was the first step towards that, and I appreciated that. We got introduced to a new character of Kathleen, who is played by Melanie Linsky, who is an awesome actress. I've seen her. She's in Yellow Jackets. She was on was it Fargo? Not Fargo. It was another. It could have been Fargo. I seen her in, but she's been in numerous films and TV shows. And matter of fact, little note for y'all: she's married to John Ritter's son. I think he's Jason Ritter. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they're married in real life. But anyways, uh, she is a marvelous actor. I really love her on Yellow Jackets. Can't wait for that show to start back up. But Catherine, or Kathleen rather, is an original character that's not in the game. So this is another part that's not in the game, but it is enhancing the game. And the reason it's enhancing the game, she is looking for Henry. Henry is in the game. His brother Sam is also in the game, and we meet them at the end of the episode. And if you know the Henry and Sam story from the game, you know that we're in for some gut punches within the next two, at least next week's episode, or 2 episodes in, or 2 episodes away rather. That's really gonna kill you if they do it like they did it in the game. It's gonna be gut wrenching. So you might as well prepare yourself for that. Like I say, I'm watching it with my wife, and when she said Henry, and then they dropped Sam's name too, I gasped. I was like, oh yeah, that's right, they are in Kansas City. My wife kind of just looked over, and she waited. She like, well, who's Henry and Sam? I said, well, just wait, because I can't explain it. You just gonna have to wait to see it. Uh, yeah, I'm excited for that. But I did like that aspect of it. Her character is new, but the encounters that Joel and Ellie have with these people who are essentially hunting them down, that is from the game. So they stayed true to that. Now I'm interested to see where this Kathleen character goes. I don't know precisely what's the reason she's looking for the Henry and Sam characters, but I'm excited to see where it goes, because that wasn't part of the game, like I said. And they were just wandering. They were just trying to survive in the city. And so if there's more to this story, oh, I'm all in. I'm all in. Um, yeah, this was a real good episode. Uh, I'm not. It's not the best episode of the series, but it's not the worst either. It's pretty much staying on par. This has been a level playing field throughout this season. All 4 episodes thus far have knocked them out the park. There's really nothing bad to say about these episodes. Everything is flowing perfectly. There's Even when you think it's like a slow drag, it's not a slow drag. It's just like it's perfect character development. They are taking their time rather, in developing characters. This is the first episode that doesn't have a flashback. All the first 3 episodes all consisted of flashbacks. Matter of fact, the third episode was nothing but a flashback with a couple of scenes with Joel and Ellie to bookend the episode, but the majority of that episode was a flashback. This episode, no flashbacks, which is fine. Don't need them, It really don't need them. It's good to have them, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna get some going on, because we got to find out why Kathleen is looking for Henry. Why is he so important, and why is she hell bent on finding him? And what is that in the basement floor of that building that's trying to break through? I think there's going to be a bloater. I think there's going to be a bloater, and that's gonna be whew, that's gonna be interesting when it busts out that floor. So yeah, The Last of Us season 1, episode 4, entitled Please Hold My Hand, gets a letter grade of an A. Duh. Yeah, it was great. It was great. I have so much joy watching this show. This is premiere television here, people. I don't know if you're watching the show. Once again, I don't know why you're listening to the reviews if you're not watching the show, but I can assure you, man, this is great television here. So far. Once again, I don't know what's gonna happen later on down the line, but these first 4, chef's kiss. Episode 5 will come out a little early for everybody next week. It will be dropping on Friday, February the 10th. I'm assuming that is because the Super Bowl is next Sunday, and I don't think they want to go up against the Super Bowl as far as ratings is concerned. So the smart move was to move it up to Friday. That's my assumption. I didn't read anything um, dictating otherwise. I don't know what the reason, but that immediately popped in my head when I said, "Oh, this is because of the Super Bowl is next Sunday." Because honestly, I was sitting here like, man, I'm gonna hate to miss that fourth quarter of that Super Bowl to watch this show because I'm watching this show. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So be on the lookout for that. Just letting you know if you tune in on Sunday to watch it. It's still gonna air on HBO at 8 o'clock Central Time, like normal, but it will stream early. It's gonna be on HBO Max early. On Friday, but it won't be on HBO until Sunday. Um, and that episode is entitled "Endure and Survive." Ooh, can't wait for that. But I want to know how you feel about this show thus far. Uh, Email the show kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. Also, look me up on Twitter at KB Radio Network and on other social media platforms. Just look up the KB Radio Network. Please, ma'am, please, sir, don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are listening to movie goodness here on the KB Radio Network. And don't forget about us over on YouTube. Swing over on YouTube and hit the subscribe button. Trying to build up the subscriptions over there as well. Maybe sooner or later, depending on how many subscriptions we get over there, might start doing some videos. Might start doing the video version of movie goodness and all other programs on the KB Radio Network. But that's completely up to you folks. We'll see how that go. So we can put a face to this melodious voice that I have. Anywho's, everybody, thank you for joining me this week. The Last of Us. Oh man, thank you HBO. HBO is a beast. If it comes on HBO as far as a TV show, I'm all in. HBO has not failed us yet on television shows. I mean, look, House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, White Lotus, Succession, Mayor of Easttown. I mean, come on, man. There's so many shows. Barry. Let me stop because I can go forever. HBO is the best when it comes to TV shows. Hands down. The best. And this one here falls in that category. Everybody, until next week, I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love one another. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.